What's good, everybody? This is Ace here with my partner Mark, and we are about that sports life. You know what we come to do? We come to talk about sports. Before we get too far into it, what's good, man? How's everything?
I'm good, man. Just glad the weather finally breaking. Summertime coming. It's the best time, July baby over here. Love the summer.
Ah, okay,
Ju-
okay.
Yeah, just got our kids back out practicing for football season. So it's been good.
Yeah. How's the early practicing go, man? Any new kids or mainly the same squad?
For the most part, it's the same kids, except for like my son went up a age group. But other
Okay.
than that, we only got a handful of new kids right now. It's still early. Like
Mm-hmm.
come August, September, we probably that's when the influx of new kids will come. But the kids that come now are usually irregulars.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I'm ready. You know, my sons they're a little bit younger. I'm ready to get them out there. Uh,
Hey,
you know,
yeah,
get their
if you don't
first.
mind taking a drive, I tell you, we'll do well with them.
Well, what age y'all do? Y'all start what age y'all
Five,
start at?
five
Oh,
and up.
okay. Yeah, yeah. My son's is gonna be 5 and 6, so maybe we'll talk. We'll talk because
Yep.
we need to get him out there. Um, but anyway, so I know we're gonna talk NBA because NBA is a lot going on right now. That's king right now. But before we go into NBA, let's talk a little NFL. Um, we had a big shoe drop this week. We had a big trade actually happen. Julio Jones finally moved from the Falcons, ended up on the Titans. What's your thoughts on that, bro?
First, I'm gonna be a little selfish. I'm gonna say I dislike it, but it's for personal reasons. I have AJ Brown as my keeper in one of my fantasy leagues, and I was
Mm-hmm.
really expecting him to have like maybe the best season from all wide receivers. Now that Corey Davis
Mm-hmm.
was gone, him just taking that next step, his third year, him and Tannehill have been locked in. That's what I was hoping for. But on a sense, I think it's a great move, honestly, for all parties. I
Mm-hmm.
think Julio now is going to be on a team where he's no longer the main focal point offensively. Like, you cannot now just double Julio and say that's what we're going to do. Because if you do that,
Mm-hmm.
AJ Brown will kill your number two corner. Or if you say, okay, we're going to play cover two and back off, Derrick Henry will run all over you. So the synergy there with Titans is a lot of good things coming together, and I think teams in the AFC should watch out because that they have a damn good offense. Their defense, there's still some question marks in their secondary, but the front seven was good last year.
Well,
It's going to be good again.
mm-hmm.
Vrabel's been proven to be a good coach, so I think the Titans are a contender for sure.
Yeah, what they got to bank on they took the chance on Caleb Fairley. If
Yep.
Caleb Fairley works out for them, I think that could help a lot in that
Hmm.
secondary because they got some guys. They just don't have the guy. They don't have a
Yeah.
shutdown, number one corner. And I think that's who Fairley could be if healthy.
Yeah, they were hoping that Adoree Jackson was going to grow into that player. And early in his career, he kind of did like he was trending in that way. But then the injuries wrecked the last 2 years for him, and we know now he's on the Giants. So yeah, that Farley pick is going to mean a lot to them. If the neck injury and all that, if that's past him and he's going to be healthy, we all know he's
Yeah.
pretty talented and he has a high upside because of his size and how still new he is to the position.
Hmm.
So, like you said, that's Caleb Farley's a very big piece to what that defense could become. And if they have a top 10 defense along with that offense, I don't I don't automatically just say it's still Kansas City's conference.
Yeah. Well, yeah, like you said, to me, I think the biggest benefit from the Julio Jones side, like your boy AJ Brown's going to take a hit, but I'm
Yeah,
sure he would
yeah.
sacrifice that for winning. Like, he just seems
He
like that type
would,
of
yeah.
player.
I would.
Um, but I think the biggest benefit is going to be Derrick Henry, because
Yeah.
to put it like this, even with AJ Brown emerging and Corey Davis being there, Johnny Smith, Derrick Henry has always been the biggest threat on that field, and defenses have played them that way.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not the case anymore. You cannot play them to stop the run. You can't do that.
Oh no.
With AJ, it's a perfect storm with AJ Brown emerging and becoming the receiver that he became last season, and now bringing in Julio Jones, a unquestioned top 5 receiver, that is going to be something where you have to account for that. You cannot load the box. You cannot, you can't do that. Like you can't play to stop the run. You got to play a more balanced game. If even lean a little bit more towards the passing game with those two out there.
Yeah, it'd be on Tannehill at this point. And we've already seen that Tannehill is a totally different quarterback with the Titans than he was with Miami.
Yeah.
Adam Gase, we all know he's a terrible. So now Tannehill has two weapons that, if I be honest, I don't think there's a better two receiver core in the league. I think they are the best. Julio Jones, AJ Brown. Yes,
Best
I
one
know people.
too. Yeah. Best
You
one
could
too.
talk. I know Mike Evans and Chris Godwin are up there. That's big time.
I'm going
right?
Julio AJ Brown.
But I'm going Julio and AJ. No disrespect.
Yeah.
Everybody know Chris Godwin, one of my guys, my frat brother, younger brother. So I got all types of love for Chris Godwin. But when I put the two together, when I put Chris Godwin and Mike Evans versus Julio and AJ, I gotta go Julio and AJ. And then after them, you could kind of talk. Maybe we got Jefferson and Thielen. Still not taking them over those two. DK and Tyler Lockett. I'm not taking them over Julio and AJ. So they have a dynamic two-set receivers. They have a top 3 NFL running back, and they have a proven now franchise quarterback in Tannehill. So
they got their quarterback.
The sky's the limit for the Titans this year.
Yeah, no, that was an excellent move to me, and I don't dislike it for the Falcons either, because I feel like it's almost an addition by subtraction type of situation. I just don't feel like they had enough targets to go around for the receivers that they would have had. I mean, you're talking about, this is without Julio, Calvin Ridley, Russell Gage, Hayden Hurst, Pitts. And then you got they have other receivers beyond that. And I can't even think of other names.
You named the main four. You named the main
but
four.
I mean, between those guys, Calvin Ridley was a top 10 receiver.
Yeah, he had 1,300 yards last year.
Last year.
Calvin Ridley, not to interrupt you. Calvin Ridley, that's exactly who I compare, and I think Devonta Smith's going to be.
Okay. I could definitely I could rock with that.
Really,
if not a better version. I just think that Devonta Smith is such a smooth player to me. Yeah. That's what I took away the most. Not that Calvin Ridley is not. I mean, we've seen what Calvin's been doing.
Yeah,
that goes without saying. But Devonta just was so smooth to me that I know a lot of the concerns was with his size, but I'm like, that doesn't matter when they can't touch you. If they can't touch you, it don't matter.
The NFL, I feel like people that talk about the size, they're stuck in a previous era. This era, you're not allowed to touch the receiver like you were back in the day. You know what I mean? So how much jamming and all that is even going to happen when a guy is as quick as Devonta Smith is and how great he runs his routes? Like, I don't think the weight thing is going to come into question at all. But let's not get off topic.
Yeah,
so Titans are on the rise. And what we just talked about the positive with the NFL. There's a big negative elephant out there too.
Yeah, I mean, and it's been I've been very vocal about this situation, and like I said, my opinion is already out there. The Packers have created a situation that only they can fix, and if they don't take the steps to fix it, it's not going to be corrected, and it's going to go bad for them. And that's it.
At this point, I don't think there's any fixing. The guy we spoke about last time, for them to be able to fix it, was Julio Jones.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it may be some other guys. I mean, you got to be creative. You got to think of something. And you got to, more than anything, you got to bring Aaron in. You got to bring Aaron in. You got to bring him in. You got to bring Aaron. Just come into the office. What do you want to do? Let's try to work. That is the biggest problem. Like when people say, when Aaron says, I have a problem with the organization and the way it's run, that's what he's really saying. That's the dog whistle. That's what he's trying to say. I don't have no say in what's going on, and I don't like it. I'm too much a part of why the Green Bay Packers is successful to not have a voice in what's going on.
And also his contract. People don't I don't think it's brought up enough that he has no more guaranteed money. You know what I mean? So I know that the assets part is a part of the conversation. He does want more weapons to be able to do more offensively. Yes, Aaron Jones is a big time running back. We all respect him. Devontae Adams is a top 5 wide receiver in my opinion. But that's it. Yes,
There's a
Robert
big drop off
Tonyan.
from there.
Yeah,
It's just
Robert
a big
Tonyan
drop off.
showed some things last year, but that's a tight end. Outside of Devontae Adams at receiver, there's nothing. I don't believe in Valdez Scantling. He's never been consistent. Lazard did not take a jump from his first 2 years to his third year. Equinemius St. Brown is a 6th-round pick. It's like, if you guys want to compete with the Bucks and if you want to compete with the offense, like the Cowboys offense, like who else? The Giants even have a big time offense that's on the rise. You know, if you
The
want to
Rams is to
continue
me
the
always.
Rams offense, Seattle, if you want to be in the running with them, like your quarterback's as good as every quarterback on those teams we've named. He's good as Russell Wilson. He's good as Dak. He's as good as Brady. You have to give him the same thing those guys have, and they have not done that. And it's kind of at this point starting to look like a spite thing because this past draft, yes, CB2 was a need. Not going to say it wasn't. Eric Stokes is a player I really like, but Terrace Marshall would have helped you more because you have him playing across from Devontae Adams, and it helps bring Rodgers. It helps show Aaron Rodgers we're still committed to winning now, and we're not even thinking about moving to Jordan Love at any time soon. Without doing that, when you pick Eric Stokes in the first round, and then you don't even go receiver in the second round, you're kind of saying that, hey, Aaron is like, hey, we're punting. We're ready to move on. That's what it seems like to me. It seems like they're ready to move on, and it makes no sense.
See, to me, a lot of people speak to in that NFC Championship when Aaron Rodgers didn't. He had an opportunity to possibly run the ball. I almost think that he was almost like F it at that point. Like I'm not even gonna do it, man. Like there's no reason why at that point, why can't I throw the ball in the end zone? Because I don't have any options. My one
And
guy
they,
that
they
I can
doubling
count on
Devontae.
is doubled, so I don't have any other options. And I think that he was almost like, man, I'm not even going. Why put my body on the line right now? You know, you'd like to say he's going to run it in. You'd like to see it, but to me, I kind of almost can't blame him.
I mean, I don't know what was going through his mind on that play. I do think if he ran, he could have got in. But what I look at more is that they didn't go for it on 4th down. If you're got a chance, yes, you could tie the game with the field goal, blah, blah. Not even couldn't tie it with the field goal. Yes, field goal puts more points on the board and it makes it a one possession game. But what you're not equating for is that you have a Hall of Fame quarterback who has been pretty clutch in his career, and you're playing against Brady, who is the man. He's going to wind that clock down, and he's going to not give you the ball or a chance again. And that's exactly what happened. So it made no sense not to go for it. And I think that's just more and more of what builds up for Aaron Rodgers. It's just he looks at the situation. It's like, this situation for me is no longer working. And I really think, in my opinion, there's a better chance he does not play for anyone next year than he plays for the Packers.
I could definitely see him not playing next year. I could easily see
Pull
it.
a
Like it's
Carson
not
Palmer.
even. Yeah, I don't see him coming back there without something drastic happening. And what is there out there drastic that he can do? I don't know.
Over. Yeah, Julio was it. And we never even see their name attached to it. Like, we remember,
Yeah, exactly.
the teams we saw attached were the Patriots, the Titans, the Rams, and the Seahawks, right? I don't think I'm missing anybody. The Ravens. Those were the teams you always seen attached to it. How is Green Bay not the first name that's brought up? How are they not making the call every day? Hey, can we get the deal done? Can we get the deal done? Because if you bring Julio Jones in there is no way in hell Aaron Rodgers is still sitting out.
Exactly. It's like, and that's what I've been saying. It's not like there's not opportunity for them to fix this. They're not trying to fix it. They're not trying to fix it. So it's whatever. Let it happen. They feel like they got more leverage than I think they actually have. Like,
yeah, I don't know what they think, and I think the owner. I'm sorry, he's not.
There is no owner.
Yeah,
there
that's
is
why
no
I stopped.
owner.
That's
why
the problem. One of their I guess he's an executive board member or something. Him coming out and saying what he said, talking about Aaron Rodgers is putting a split in our fan base, is like, dude, are you serious? No, he's not. I promise you, if you went and polled all Green Bay Packers fans and asked them, do you side with Rodgers or do you side with the team? It's going to be like 98% to 2%. Not most of those fans are going to be on Rodgers' side because everyone sees the issue. Rodgers is not the issue. The issue is the lack of weapons and the lack of commitment in another contract. And then, you went and drafted a first round quarterback. That did not help the situation. So no, dude, I do not think that he's splitting the fan base. If anybody's splitting the fan base, it's you guys in the front office.
See, to me, this is one of those Green Bay's in one of those shit or get off the pot situations. Like, all right, y'all went out and got y'all quarterback. Y'all not trying to improve the core around this quarterback, and you're not trying to pay him any money. So shit or get off the pot. Like either A, you want Aaron and you're gonna pay him and you're gonna build around him, or B, you want to move on with Aaron, Jordan Love, and that's the thing. Like, and I think Aaron is kind of in that same mind space where it's like, I'm not going to sit here and just be in limbo with y'all. And we're not doing that. Like either A, y'all gonna, we rocking and we trying to win the Super Bowl, or B, y'all looking at the future and y'all going with the kids. Like, but I'm not just gonna stick around until
make a decision.
Y'all make
time to make a decision.
Yeah.
It's a it's a touch and go thing with them, and I just think the Packers are in a lose-lose situation because either it's going to be you guys don't bring back your Hall of Fame quarterback this season, or you need to trade him. And that's really no win for them. I guess they could probably get a nice package in return for him, but you don't want to be the team that traded Aaron Rodgers. He's freaking Aaron Rodgers. He goes out on his own terms, just like Tom Brady, just like Brett. Well, Favre kind of didn't, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, Favre got
last situation.
My thing about it is this. The fact that, like, all right, you look at a Julio Jones trade, and it's almost similar to that, but the fact that the Falcons went out and got Kyle Pitts makes it a little different because it's almost like, yeah, we just got to.
Yeah, it's kind of like Peyton Manning.
Like, it's not a 1-for-1, but we're going in a different direction offensively than what we've been doing.
Yeah, they're rebuilding. They have a new coach, a new GM. They're rebuilding. That's why I was kind of. I know the Kyle Pitts pick is good, but I was a little shocked the Falcons didn't take Justin Fields. You know what I mean? I thought they were going to try to redo everything, but they could do that next year because Matt Ryan's contract, way it's set up, is they can move him next season before the draft, and then go after one of the quarterbacks in next year's draft and have that guy go forward with Pitts, Ridley, Gage, the whole guys we just talked about, Hayden Hurst. So the only situation I could kind of say is a little similar to what we're seeing with Rodgers is the Peyton Manning situation, where they let him walk, right? But they had the number one pick. They had Andrew Luck. And Peyton Manning was coming off of a neck surgery. That's different. You know what I mean? You understand why the Colts kind of went away from their franchise greatest quarterback in John Unitas. That's a little different.
With Aaron Rodgers, there was no catastrophic injury, or he didn't fall off a cliff. I think he had a season that they called bad, which is statistically a good season for any other quarterback. So I'm like I feel like I just feel like mistakes were made, and until you acknowledge the mistake and then try to make steps to fix it, it's only going to get worse.
Yep. Unfortunately, I think the boat they've lost that chance because the draft is over. Free agency is over. The last big trade chip receiver wise has been traded. Training camp starts next month.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like there is no option now. The only option now is to either try to convince him to come back with a big new guaranteed contract or trade him. Denver will probably be very happy to give you a lot of stuff in return for him, Yeah. And if you're already saying Jordan Love's the quarterback, you don't have to trade him for a quarterback. You could trade him to Denver. Let's say Denver gives them Bradley Chubb, one of the receivers. I don't think they would give him Judy. Let's say Bradley Chubb, KJ Hamler, 2 first-round picks. That's a solid return for Rodgers. And at that point, you just wash your hands with the situation and you try to move into the
Move on.
future. That's
I,
that's the
I
only thing
do
I can
think
see him
that
doing at this
the
point.
only thing that indicates to me that I do think that there's a trade that would happen is now over the last training camp is starting. Training camp hasn't started. It's mini camp.
Yeah, man.
Um, they have some reports that Jordan Love is out there. He's QB1. Aaron's not there. He didn't
Mhm.
show up. So they said that first day he ran a 2-minute drill. It wasn't a good look. Didn't look good. Very next day, no, this is the thing. This is the thing that made it. All right, so the reports came out from a source. We didn't see any video. We didn't hear from anybody on the team, right? I'm watching. I watch the usual. I watch my the usual sports talk shows. Everything is Jordan Love had a great day. The next day, um, his video of him throwing the ball. He's got a little interview. So the to me the immediacy, the quickness in which they went to try to clean that up, that tells me that
That is
they
not real.
do have no, it more tells me that they do have a plan for
Oh,
Jordan
okay.
Love. Like they can't let the book on him be that he's failing. Put
Yeah.
it like
I
that.
thought
Because
I thought you was gonna say they did all that the next day to try to spin like, oh no, everything's fine.
I mean, whether they did or they didn't, I just feel like the fact that they even cared enough to do that lets me know that they do. I think that they need him to be confident and be ready to go because I do feel like he's going to end up being QB1 this
Yes,
year.
like
One way or the other, he's going to be
yeah,
QB1.
I don't
So
see how they could consciously prepare for Aaron Rodgers to be the quarterback this year.
yeah,
I don't. That makes no sense to me. The dude is not budging. Like unless
yeah,
y'all do something drastic, like you said, in terms of player acquisition, or you trade him. Other than
yeah.
that, I think Aaron Rodgers is the type of guy who's so secure in his life is already set forever. His kids, his grandkids, all of them are set. He's a Hall of Famer already. So for him to sit home for 1 year to become a free agent after that, like a Carson
It
Palmer
ain't
type of
nothing to him.
situation,
It's
that
nothing
ain't
to him.
nothing.
Yeah, it's
That
nothing to
might
him.
that might extend his career 4 or 5 years because now he didn't get hit that whole season. So they don't have any leverage. I don't like. I know earlier you said they have little. I don't think they have any leverage. I think they have zero leverage.
Yeah, I feel
Zero.
like you gotta trade him, and you gotta look at it, Denver. I think you look at it, Denver. You try to get him at the conference. You get him somewhere where
Absolutely.
you can actually get some assets and somewhere that he wouldn't mind going. I think that you get him to Denver, and then you just you move on. Like you said, they still have Aaron Jones. They still have Devontae Adams. They'll go bring in some assets. You got to make it do what it do.
I do think they're going to lose Devontae Adams too, though.
Yeah, eventually,
Because
eventually he's gonna.
this is the last year of his deal. He has not
Yeah,
signed a long
eventually.
term deal yet. He's very close with Aaron Rodgers. I could
Yeah,
see him feeling like, hey, if he not the quarterback here, I'm gonna go pick my own quarterback. I'm not gonna play with the guy y'all picked for me. But we'll see. They
yeah.
can use the franchise tag on him so they can control some things. We'll see how it plays out with Devontae Adams as it goes forward. But it's amazing to see Green Bay was literally just in the NFC Championship game and they were a touchdown away from winning it. To now,
Mhm.
what is this? That was February, March, April, May, June, July, June. 4 months later, we're talking about them as if they're in turmoil,
Yeah,
and they are.
yeah.
They are in turmoil, and
It's,
it's
it's not. It's
amazing
not a good situation.
how fast
It's
that
not a
happened.
not a good situation. But anyway, this is a story that's still going to develop a lot like the original, the Julio one that we talked about. It's going to develop. Something is going to happen. So and when it happens, we'll talk about it. Um, but let's move on to where the real action is. Let's talk some NBA, man.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
where you want to start, man? So much. There's so much to talk about. To be honest, NBA is got a lot going on right
Well, first I want to salute the Phoenix Suns for
now. Okay.
having the Chris Paul injury happen early in the series against the Lakers. It was a 1-1 series. It kind of looked like they were in a little bit of trouble, but then they
Mhm.
quickly dismantled the Lakers and got them out of there in six. And now they're up 2-0 on Denver. They really look like a team that's poised to make a deep playoff run, maybe even towards the championship. And I just like how it all came together because I remember being one of the few people that did not think Devin Booker needed to demand to get out of there because I saw
Mhm.
what was coming together. Ayton has taken a step up. Mikal Bridges fits everything they need. CP3, they got him this offseason. He's the perfect fit at point guard for Devin. Like so,
Mhm.
and then Monty Williams has always been a good coach. Didn't he finally got his second opportunity and he's succeeding on that. So I think
Mhm.
Phoenix for me has been the best story, you know what I mean, to follow and to watch. Like, of course, the
Mhm.
Sixers are my team, but outside of the Sixers, I've been enjoying Phoenix the most. And I kind of think they're going to get rid of Denver pretty quickly, probably 5 games at the most. It just looks like without Jamal Murray, going
It's
against the
rough.
amount
It's
of
rough.
defensive
Yeah, it's
pressure
rough.
that Phoenix
It's
puts
rough.
on them, Jokic is not able to just carry that team through this series. And that's not a slight at Jokic because Jokic
Not
is
at all.
proven
Can't.
he fully deserved MVP. Once Murray got hurt, they were the 5th seed. They end up getting all the way up to the 3 seed. Jokic does it on offensively in every way. He's a big time passer. He can hit the three, shoots like 84% from the free throw line. So he's doing his job, but it's just not enough there to beat the Phoenix
Yeah,
Suns.
it's
So
not gonna be
Phoenix
enough.
is my that's the team I want to see to come out the West. Um, but I do think Utah is going to be a tough out for them.
Yeah.
But that's
Hmm.
the team I start with is Phoenix. I like everything that's going on there in terms of the Western Conference.
Yeah. What I would say about Phoenix is that when you think about the NBA, it's not a big man's league right now. But historically, of course, the NBA, a good big man could always kind of sway things a little bit more in your favor.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even down to last year's champion, the Lakers, the
Mm-hmm.
AD
AD.
is what really was the deciding factor of that. And
Mm-hmm.
I see the same thing happening with Phoenix. Like the emergence of Aiton and him taking a step forward to, and he's like, went from being like a young player, you know,
Promising guy
developing
to yeah.
to just under now, I think all-star tier because he's
Yeah.
really has really
He's
and,
good.
and it's really more or less has been in these playoffs. We've seen that leap from him to really being able to hang. I mean, he was, while Anthony Davis was healthy in the last series, he was hanging right with Anthony Davis.
Mm-hmm. And he's
Now we're
hanging with
seeing him
Jokic now. Yep.
being the MVP of the league. And
Mm-hmm.
I think that it just goes to show you how much that legitimate big man could make it just solidify how far it goes to solidifying your team.
Also
Um,
with Aiton, I think playing with a guy like Chris Paul has helped them also
yeah, yeah.
because he's able to find him easy buckets, and then the Phoenix has so many shooters that the spacing is perfect for Aiton to be the one in the middle to take that area of the
Hmm.
court, attack and get his buckets, get his
Yeah.
rebounds from that area without worrying about the spacing issues. So
Hmm.
like I said, it's everything just came together for them perfectly, and it's a good situation that I think they're going to be a contender for a long time.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, you
Like
look
their
at,
core players are all pretty young
yeah, yeah, like you
outside of Chris
said,
Paul.
you're a Sixers fan. Look at the Sixers. When
Yeah,
once Embiid became Embiid, you guys became
absolutely,
contenders. It was just
absolutely.
like once you have that legitimate big man, it goes it, such a long way to solidify you as a contender, more so than a good guard, good lead guard, or good lead wing. Once you have that good big man, it kind of just takes you to that next, it carries you right to that next level. And I think Phoenix really has to be looked at now as a legitimate contender to win the NBA championship this year.
Absolutely,
Um,
absolutely.
like you said, them against Utah, that's going to be tough for them because then
Mm-hmm.
you're looking at Aiton against Gobert, who is
Mm-hmm.
defensive player of the year. You're looking at um, Donovan Mitchell pretty
Then
much
Book,
negating what Booker brings to
Booker,
the table, and then CP3,
CP3 gets
Mike
Conley.
Conley. So it's
Mm-hmm.
very
It's
even.
nice.
So
Yeah, it's a
yeah,
very
yeah,
even because even you go a little deeper, you got. I think Bogdanovich is better than Mikal Bridges at this point in his career, but
but
they're
very
kind of
similar
on
style
a
of player.
similar guy. Yeah. Then
Yeah.
you got the Joe Ingles is the 3-point defensive shooter. That's Jay Crowder on the Suns. Then coming off the bench, this is where I think the Jazz have the advantage. There's no Jordan Clarkson on
Nah,
Phoenix.
not
You know
yet,
what I mean?
not yet.
But Phoenix does
They're a little
have
deeper.
guys that
Phoenix
yeah.
is a little deeper. Yeah.
Dario gives them good minutes.
Hmm.
Campaign gives them good minutes. Cam Johnson gives them good minutes. So no, None of those three are as dynamic as Jordan Clarkson, but the
Hmm.
quantity is what's going to help them. Uh,
Yeah,
I
yeah, they got a
think
good.
that series is going to be amazing. I think that might
But
end up
what
being
we're
the
looking
best
at,
series.
we're looking a little bit ahead though. So let's switch.
I am disrespecting
We're,
the Clippers,
we're,
and I
my
fully
thing,
accept
yeah,
it.
yeah, and we're gonna talk about that because all right, we can say I do think that Phoenix just has too much for Denver. I just don't feel like Denver really has a number two. I think that um
Porter Jr.
uh
is not feeling that role right now.
he's more of a three, unfortunately at this point because what I've learned about Porter Jr. through these playoffs is that he needs to flesh out his mid range game. All players of that style of player that he is, that 6'8" to 6'10" wing scorer, you have to be a three-level scorer for that to really
Mm-hmm.
work.
Mm-hmm.
Shooting the three and layups and dunks is not as efficient. Those are efficient shots, but you have to have the mid-range games to be able to get those
To
off
set it up, yeah.
consistently. Yes. So I think that's what he needs to work on to really become that second option or maybe even first option, for the Nuggets. But I just don't think they have enough for
Yeah.
Phoenix. Phoenix has
Without
too
Murray,
many,
yeah.
too many
I
options.
would love to have seen this series with Murray because I think
Yeah,
it'd be.
with Murray would be
I'm
very
not
different.
saying Denver would win the series, but I'm just saying it would be a different series
Yeah,
altogether if Murray was there. And it's so
absolutely.
unfortunate that he's not.
Yeah,
Now we both are in agreement that we think Phoenix comes out of that. Now let's talk about the other one. We have
yeah. So
Jazz and the Clippers.
I
Uh,
am not ready to write the Clippers off only only because I do like what they were able to do in the first round. Now they went down 0-2. I
hmm
just like that they were able to show some type of backbone to
hmm
get out of that series. That's something that to me I did not see from them last year in the bubble. Just that grit to really Kawhi, those type of games that Kawhi had. That's not even how they won. They were able to get to the second round last year, but that's not how they got there last year. Um, so I mean I can it's they're only down 1-0 and it was on the road and Utah's a tough place to play. Um, I could see them stealing one tonight. Um, and even if not tonight, I mean I think going down 0-2 two straight series is very dangerous. But I think
hmm
even if not tonight, I feel like once they get back to LA, I think they can get back into this series. Like we're seeing right now, we're watching Brooklyn and Milwaukee. And Milwaukee is playing. This is a very different game than game two for sure.
Yeah, but
So
I still
you know,
reason why I'm kind of like pushing the Clippers to the side is because I don't think they have enough. You know what I mean? I feel like Utah is really, really, really
yeah,
good
but
and really deep, and
they're really
they're
well built.
playing.
That's a well built
Yes,
team.
it's an oil machine because they won
To,
that game without Mike Conley. They won that
yeah.
game after starting slow. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
it was a lot of impressive things for Utah in that first game that
To
I'm
be
just like,
able to lose a
okay,
Mike Conley,
and still win.
and still win the way they won is very
And then
impressive.
I, Kawhi and Paul George are good defenders, but it just seemed like Donovan Mitchell was able to
Well, the
do whatever
problem.
he wanted.
All right, so this is okay. So this is my analysis, right? One, Donovan Mitchell, and the way that the Jazz play, mainly Rudy Gobert is a hidden thing about Rudy Gobert that makes Rudy Gobert good, and that's pick and roll. Because Rudy Gobert is such a good diver on that pick and roll that you cannot not you have to switch. You have to switch that. You can't not
Mm-hmm.
switch it because he's diving and he's so big and he has such long strides that he's at the rim before you know it. So you can't rely on fighting over that pick. It's not going to work. So that pick and roll is negating the defense of PG or Kawhi. It doesn't matter
Yeah,
if you have PG or Kawhi on Donovan Mitchell if all he's going to do is run pick and roll
screen
with
them out.
Gobert.
Yep, they're gonna
You
screen
you
you out, and
can't
they're gonna get the matchup they want. And that's what they were doing
exactly.
yesterday.
So
They were
so I think
down the stretch of that game. I see it maybe 3 or 4 sets in a row where they would run the pick and roll, like you were saying. Sometimes Mitchell would drive and get a bucket, but a lot of times he would pull back out and get the one-on-one with Luke Kennard, and then it was ball game.
Exactly.
Luke Kennard ain't got no shot.
Yeah. That's what I'm
him.
saying. So
And to
they
do
have
that
to.
without Conley, man, I just
Yeah.
think Utah's in control.
That's good coaching. That's Quinn Snyder. That to me is Quinn
Yeah,
Snyder
great
all
coaching.
day.
Coaching
That's Quinn
all day.
Snyder. So it's what I think is Ty Lue's adjustment is you got to blitz. First of all, you got to blitz that pick and roll. You got to double down. You got to get the ball out of his hands, and you got to rotate whoever's on Royce O'Neal or whoever that's the third guy is. Not you don't want to rotate off of Ingles, Bogdanovich, either one of those. You want to rotate off whoever the other guy out there is. But you got to do something to get the ball out of Donovan Mitchell's hands. You cannot let him just beat you. You
Yeah,
can't let one guy beat you.
he bust them in game one all day. And also, I gotta say this: Paul George has to give Kawhi more. And I mean, like, he did not give him much in game
Offensively,
one.
yes.
He
Yeah,
has to
offensively.
give more. Like, Paul George, you're too good to continue to have these big down games in the playoffs. Like, early in his career, he was a good playoff player. Like, we think back of the series that he had with LeBron when he was with the Pacers, he was going head to head with him. Yeah, but it seems like ever since, though, it was 2 series where he did that with that, and since then it's just been consistently ineffective in big moments of
No
playoff
pressure.
series.
There was no pressure.
Yes,
there was no
exactly.
pressure.
That's the exactly. Once the pressure came, he's been pandemic P, and it's like, dude, if you want to win a championship, after you are a main catalyst for why Doc Rivers is not there anymore, right? They did everything. They gave up Shea. They gave up picks for the next 30 years to get you. Kawhi signed with the Clippers because he wanted to play with you. So now, dude, you have to bring your part. Like, Kawhi is giving his size. Kawhi is doing enough for them. He did enough to get him out of the first round. He did enough to win that first game. You know what I mean? Like, but Paul George is really hurting them because they do not have, and we talked about this before, I thought that they don't have a point guard, and that hurts them. You know what I mean? Like, Rondo is an older player at this point. We know he can still give you some good minutes, he has good playoff games here and there, but to do it consistently,
Lou got to play Rondo more. He got to play. Rondo played 12 minutes in that game one. He has to play more.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, I don't know if he still has it to consistently be that guy. It's on Paul George. He has to run the show.
If you got Rondo on the floor with Paul George and Kawhi, you don't need Rondo for that hope, but you need him on the floor because Rondo makes plays. It's just something in Rondo, not even with the ball in his hands. He makes plays without the ball. He makes defensive plays, loose balls. Like, Patrick Beverley
is a glue player,
and Reggie Jackson are not giving you what Rondo would give you in those minutes.
Patrick Beverley should not play in this series. I'm really serious about that. He should not play in this series because defensively is really not their issue. The issue is scoring. You know what I mean? And he gives you nothing in terms of that. Like, I know Marcus Morris had an okay game. No one liked him taking the big last shot, but I feel like he's a piece that's you're fine with what he's giving you, right? I even think the young boy Zubac is giving them solid minutes. It has to come from PG, an increase in PG, and an increase from the point guard position is either going to be Reggie Jackson or Rondo. Has to get something from those two spots, and I just don't think that they're going to be able to get that from those things, along with negating the impact that Conley's going to bring once he comes back. I just think Utah.
My thing is, I kind of have to disagree with what you said though. When you said they don't have enough, I think that the Clippers have more than any team in the league. They have more. They need to figure out how to get more from what they have.
All right, outside of Kawhi,
there's no deeper team in the league than the Clippers.
You don't think Utah's deeper than them?
No, not at all. No way.
What does the outside?
We just named. They're 3 deep at the point guard position.
Patrick Beverly's I really.
But listen. Conley's gone, right? The Jazz don't even have another point. Well, he's not playing. He's not playing tonight. They don't even have another point guard on the roster. They don't even have another point. Well, Clarkson's is not a point.
More of a 2. Yeah, they let Mitchell run it.
But that's what I'm saying. This is what, in comparison, the Clippers they go 3 deep at every position, at least.
Who are the three at small forward? You
Small
got
forward. I
Kawhi.
mean, Kawhi, you can play PG as small forward if you want. You got
Oh
Luke
no, no,
Kennard.
all right, no. I got PG as shooting guard. We're talking about they're three deep. I want to hear small
But what
forward.
I'm
You
saying
got
is they got
Kawhi
they got they
and you
got
got
even more
Kennard,
versatility. Then you got Marcus Morris. Marcus Morris can play the three if you need him to
power
play the three.
forward.
But both of
What's
those
their
guys
bench?
can.
All right, give me their bench pieces that you believe are better.
Batum, Marcus
I
Morris.
forgot about Batum. Nicholas
Swim
Batum. I forgot about him.
they got so many
I
guys
did.
you forget.
I
Kennard.
forgot
You
about
got
Batum.
the Clippers have an embarrassment of riches. They just have not figured out how to use them shit. They don't know how to use the
Yeah.
guys that they have. They're not getting like
And when I said
Lou.
not enough, I more meant on the offensive end. I mean, because I do think they're fine defensively. They did not lose that game yesterday because of defense. It's because of the offense. I think, yeah, Beverly is a non-factor. Reggie Jackson is hot and cold, but he could give you more. Paul George has to step up. Luke
No, for
Kennard
sure, for
is an
sure.
iffy wash guy. Marcus Morris has been solid. Batum is somebody I totally forgot about, and that's my mistake. Um, who else comes off the bench? I think Zubac's been starting. Who's the backup
Derek,
big?
I mean,
Oh, DeMarcus Cousins, but they barely play him. They play him
yeah,
limited.
that's what I'm saying. But this is what I'm saying.
You got to
Lou
throw all
has
the
to figure
bullets.
out a better way to use these guys. He has too much. Is Ibaka playing or is he out? I don't know.
No, I
But
have not seen it. I haven't even seen Ibaka all playoffs. I seen him in street clothes. I don't think Ibaka's
yeah,
playing.
if he's not playing, it's okay. But what I'm saying is, Lou got to figure out a better way to use these guys. He has to figure out a better way. What is going to work in this series? Because to me, I feel like there's matchups you can exploit. Like you just got to use the right guys to exploit
Yeah, you
them.
got to get like just like we were talking about, where Utah Quinn Snyder finds ways to get Donovan Mitchell on Luke Kennard through that pick and roll, or he makes that pick and roll work where Donovan Mitchell is able to get into the middle of the lane, finds Rudy for a oop, or he steps back so he hits a jumper. Like he's manufacturing points for Donovan Mitchell through him being matched up on the matchup they want. That's
Yeah,
something I don't see from the Clippers at all.
exactly,
They play
exactly.
rec one-on-one basketball. I do not see them run sets. I don't see enough pick and roll
Because
action.
that's where
All I see is
I say
Kawhi and PG
if
taking turns.
because there's only like I don't see if you get either Kawhi or PG in the pick and rolls, not a lot of guys on the Jazz that can guard those guys. Their initial matchup is going to be somebody that's lined up to match up with them. Once you hit a pick and roll, who's switching? Donovan Mitchell is 6'2".
Yeah, he's little. And then, I mean, Rudy does a great job with the hedge. He's able to. That's why he's defensive player of the year. I think he's defensive player of the year more because of his pick and roll defense than his rim protection.
Yeah,
Because
team defense.
yes,
He's
he's
probably the best
very
team
good at
defender in
that.
the league.
Yeah, like when they set a pick and they're trying to isolate somebody on a wing, that's usually it's Bogdanovich or it's Joe English. I said his name wrong. It's Joe
Ingles.
Ingles. Yeah, usually that's
Mhm.
the guy they're trying to isolate. Gobert is able to shade and to make sure that doesn't happen. You know what I mean? And that's
Yeah,
where he gets his respect, and that's how he do it. But there's ways to beat that though, because if he's shading to that section, he knows, okay, I gotta be the help defender and watch the roll. You need to have somebody coming around the back cut that gets on the other side of the
exactly.
court, and there goes the pass,
Exactly.
open three. Like I don't see them run back like it just happened. PJ Tucker, they just ran it. The Bucks just Tucker missed it, but they just did exactly what I was talking
Yeah,
about. That's how you have to
wide open
manufacture
three.
those open shots. And Marcus Morris is going to make that shot. Luke Kennard can make that shot. So coaching could be a downfall for them too. I just think if Dallas gave them as much work as they did, right, took them to 7 and all that, I can't see them being able to beat Utah.
Yeah, no, I don't either. I just wanted to talk about it because it's almost a foregone conclusion, which is it's sad to say, but it is almost a
Hey,
foregone conclusion. Like, all right,
now
let's go
we'll
to the
save it.
East.
Yeah, let's go to the East.
Yeah,
I'll save.
let's
I'm
run
gonna
to
say
the
something,
East
but I'll
now.
save it.
Right now we got the Jazz. I mean not the Jazz. I'm sorry, the Bucks and the Nets.
Yep.
Of course, the
2-0.
Nets pretty much blew them out twice. Let's call it what it is. we got a close one here.
Good game
And
3. Yep. Currently
the
76 with 3 minutes left.
yeah.
It's going to be the
What's
decider, in my opinion.
yeah, definitely. What stood out to me the most is how physical. This is a much more physical game. The Bucks have brought toughness to the table, and I think that's how you have to beat the Nets. I don't think that you're not going to outscore them. It's not even an option. You gotta make it a grimy game. You have to get
Oh,
physical with the Nets.
fully agree. If you're going to try to play an up and down scoring fest with the Nets, you're going to get beat, and you're going to get beat easily. And they showed you that in the first 2 games. This game, like you said, the defensive pressure has definitely been intensified by the Bucks. You could tell that they're fighting more. They're not like the first 2 games. It seemed like once they got a punch from Brooklyn early, they folded.
They just
You know what I
yeah,
mean?
exactly.
This game, they initiated the first punch this game, and it helped them, I think, confidence-wise throughout all of it.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say, if they lose this game, there's a chance they get swept
Yeah,
because
I
that'll
believe so too.
demoralize them. You know, and
Yeah, I
that'll
believe so too.
demoralize them. They
Because
need
they
to
know they
win
can't
this
win the
game.
series. They're not gonna win the series if they go down 3-0. So
If they go down
they
3-0, and then I think it's more about the way they went down 3-0, because this has been a game where they should win this. You know what I mean? They've
yeah,
been in control most
they
of the
gotta pull
game.
it out. Yeah,
And
they gotta
playing
pull it out.
the play style is within their style. It's at home. They have to pull this last 3 minutes out and get this W. If not, I can see them get swept. If they do pull this out, right, I think we have a different series. There's a
Mm-hmm.
chance at that point that it really does go 6 or 7 games. Because if they win this game, now it's on the Nets to make some adjustments. And I think that's where the Bucks could stay and continue to do everything they're doing while the Nets make adjustments, and the Nets could end up not being they ready for what they've got to do in game 4, and now it's 2-2. And it's a whole new ball game, right? So
Yeah.
I think this game 3 is the total decider of what we're going to get. I think we're either going to, if Brooklyn pulls this out, we're going to watch them probably end this in 4 games. If Milwaukee can pull this out, I think we're going to see the extended good series we all expected to see going into this one.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is very important. Like I said, I definitely give the Bucks respect for taking this approach to this game because I feel like they have to. But we'll see for sure. Now, do you feel like if the Bucks do get swept,
Hmm.
do you think that that Giannis' reputation or status takes a hit, or you still feel like he still has enough career ahead of him that it'll just kind of be a bump in the road type of thing, and you just gotta get better?
I think it's more of a bump in the road for him, but I think it's a big time slight to Mike Budenholzer. I mean, that's the
Yeah,
guy, in my opinion, that has more at stake than anyone.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah. I
Like
think if they don't win this series, Budenholzer's gone. To me, they don't win the series, Budenholzer's gone. No matter how they lose it, I think he's gone if they don't win the series.
it's just amazing to me that they have been. Budenholzer has been this guy everywhere. Like he's Milwaukee. I mean, sorry, I said Milwaukee. Atlanta, he had very good teams, right? Very, very good teams. What came from that? Much or nothing. They would get to the second round, they would lose. This Milwaukee team has been a contender for 3, almost 4 years now. They've only been to 1 Eastern Conference Finals, and they lost that to the Raptors. And now they did a lot of things this offseason to prepare for this year. You know what I mean? The adding of Drew Holiday,
PJ Tucker,
the adding of PJ Tucker. It's one more that they went and got.
Bobby Portis.
There you go, Bobby Portis, and he played some good ball. So if you do all of those things and you still can't move forward, I have to then put that on the coach. At that point, it's not the team, it's not the roster construction, it's the coach having a flaw in his ability that's holding them back. Giannis kind of took control out of his own hands, signing that extension early. So he can't really hold their feet to the fire. But at the same time, they kind of already fulfilled what he wanted by giving him extra pieces. So at that point, it's got to be, we got to move on and try a different coach at that point.
Well, I think it's obvious at this point that it's the coaching, because my thing is you can't have a star player with the deficiencies that Giannis has and have the ball in his hands all the time. It just doesn't work. Those two things don't work together. Like, all right, case in point, the last guy we kind of saw that had this type of offensive ability but couldn't shoot was Shaq, right?
Yes.
And you wouldn't put the ball in Shaq's hand and tell him to bring the ball up the court and initiate offense, right?
No, he's incapable of that.
So you would tell him, "We'll give you the ball in positions to score and opportunities to score." Correct?
Yes.
Well, I think that's the problem with Giannis. You can't have a player who can't shoot and can't hit free throws initiating your offense. You have to. Giannis should be in a position. Giannis should never be the ball handler in the pick and roll. He should be the roller in the pick
The
and roll.
roller. Yeah,
He
kind of.
needs to receive the ball and be attacking the rim. And I think if you're Budenholzer and you're not doing that, then you're. What are we doing? What are we doing right now?
I, it's
What are
tough
we
with
doing?
him, man, because Giannis, like you said, the holes in his game when it comes to free throws and the jump shot does affect the team as a whole because he's the best player. You know what I mean? Like, so you do kind of have to do things to hide those flaws or to overcome those issues. And that's something only the coach can do. You know what I mean? And if we're at year 4 now and they fall again in the second round, it's kind of like, okay, what other buttons can be pressed here with this core? You know what I mean? There's no other button to press. You tried adding an additional ball handler in Drew. You tried adding some more punch off the bench with Portis and Tucker. Unfortunately, Dante DiVincenzo, they lost him in the playoffs, unfortunately, but he falls into that also. So it's like, at what point, what's next? You know what I mean? And the only thing that can
Hmm.
happen after that is they fire Mike Budenholzer. And I'm gonna say it's very similar to the Sixers. You know what I mean? Like Brett Brown
Yeah.
got us
Yeah.
to a certain extent, and we couldn't go any further. Like, we had the team, we've had the assets. That Jimmy Butler, Ben, and B Tobias team took the Raptors to game 7, and it took a freak triple, quadruple bounce play for them to beat us, correct? And at that point, it's like, okay, we're going to give him another year because that was a wild way to lose. We can't just say he's out of here because of that. But then
Yeah.
that next
Yeah.
year, you come back and you lose in the first round. Yes, you Ben got hurt, but it was more about the whole season. They made no steps forward. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Everything was the same, and that's where we're at now with the Bucks. Like, they look like they may choke this game away. Still got a minute. It's a 1-point game. Budenholzer got to go. I have been out on him for a while now, and
Yeah.
this year just solidified it.
Yeah. You always did say Budo. You didn't think he was real. You didn't believe in him. I always gave him the benefit of the doubt. Always thought he was a good coach. But I mean, you can't argue with the truth. Like
Yeah,
it's happening right in front of our eyes right
and
now.
in front of our eyes. Yep. Now let's go to the other series. We know my
Yeah, you
Sixers,
guys and the
Hawks.
Hawks. I
Oh,
think that we've seen the best that the Hawks gonna give y'all. I think y'all should get out of here in 5. I got y'all in 5.
I would love to say I would love that, but I actually think six was kind of where I was at in the beginning of the series. Also,
Well, yeah,
um,
you can say 6. I forgot that the Hawks won the first game, so
yeah,
yeah, you can say 6. They'll get one in Atlanta.
and this is where coaching is so important. Where we saw the difference from game 1 and game 2 when the Sixers was
Yeah,
all coaching. He
coaching
noticed his
adjustments.
mistake in game 1 of having Danny Green on Trey Young. He fixed that. He
Hmm.
made sure Ben and Matisse was the ones on him for majority of the game. Then also, something that probably doesn't get pointed out unless you're a Sixers fan, is that in that game 2, ooh, Drew, great move. In that game 1, the second half, defensive pressure for the Sixers was at a bigger, higher rate. I mean, so they
Yeah,
came out in game 2 and they played with that same
yeah.
defensive pressure, but they were not getting any offense from their bench. Doc rips them apart at halftime. And what do we see in the second half? Shake Milton goes off for 14 points. Dwight Howard's making free throws, getting big time rebounds. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Matisse Thybulle comes in and continues to play the defense he had. He made 2 threes. He had a leak out dunk. So That's coaching. That's what we're saying is that your coach has to be an extra part to help a team grow. Like, yes, the
Yeah.
players are definitely always the biggest part, but the coach is there when the incremental steps happen.
The
And
coach
that's what I
is the
think that Doc
difference,
is
man.
doing.
Everybody in the NBA is going to have talent. The Hawks have talent,
Yes, they do.
right?
They can shoot the hell out that
Yeah.
ball.
The Sixers have talent, but the coach, that's where the differences come in, the X and O,
And
especially in the
the Hawks
playoffs.
are another example. The Hawks
Yeah.
before Nate McMillan were
Yeah.
looking like a
Well,
lottery team.
exactly. That's the difference. Is that's where the coaching comes in. So that's what I would say. I mean, going into this first game in Atlanta, I would say what Doc and what you guys have to do is kind of predict what the adjustment is going to be. I
Mhm.
feel like the adjustment is going to be more Trey off the ball. If y'all going to commit to having Ben Simmons or Thibault on Trey all the time, then if I'm the
Mhm.
coach, I'm saying Trey, give the ball to
Bogdanovich.
Bogdanovich and a couple screens, come around and try to get open. Because that's the adjustment. That's basically the Steph button. You got to hit the Steph button. He's the closest thing to Steph as far as talent wise and ability wise, skill set wise. So we're gonna hit the Steph button. We're gonna run you through 3 or 4 screens on every play. And if we can't get you open, at the very least, we're gonna make these guys run around the court. Because I think the thing about the Hawks is they actually have enough scoring.
Yes, they do. They are an extremely great shooting team. You know what I mean? Like Kevin
I
Huter
mean the
comes off
Bucks,
the
you know.
yeah, they're gonna get it. Kevin Huter comes off the bench. He can hit the three. Um, Bogdanovich is big time. Danilo Gallinari has come off the bench and he's gave them big minutes. John
Yeah, they
Collins
both
can hit
scoring.
the three. Trey Young can hit the three. That's what I think got us in the first game is we did not fully put that pressure on them at the 3-point line.
Yeah, the
And we were
shooters, the shooters.
expecting their shots to, okay, you'll make some, but you're not going to hit them all. And they were hot. They were on in game one. Atlanta is one of those teams that I think game flow and confidence really affects them.
Right.
In
Yeah,
game
yeah.
one, they came out, they punched us in the mouth, and they rolled that high all the way through. In game two, we punched them in the mouth, right? So you could tell early in the game, they were a little like, okay, what do we do now? And then throughout the middle of the game, they started to come back. They started to make their shots. They got some confidence, right? But end of the third quarter, we go on a little run. The fourth quarter was pretty much over. They folded. So I say that to say, game three, we have to do that again. The Sixers have to be the initiator in game three. You
Because
cannot allow the Hawks to get confident and to get in a flow on their home court early. If they do, they're going to go up 2-1. I think the Sixers will win game three. I think the Hawks will win game four. And I think the Sixers close them in 5 and 6. That's my prediction.
I can't argue with it. Like I said, I do see
Oh,
y'all getting out of it, of course.
one thing. I got to give a shout out to Seth Curry because you're balling. Seth Curry is balling. He had 20 something points the other game. He had 21 in game one. He had 30 against the Wizards. Seth is giving us everything
Seth has
we
always been a
hope.
player to me. He's a player, man. When
And his
healthy,
shot is
he's a
so
player.
on right now. And it's like,
Right.
yo, thank you, Seth Curry. You're balling right now. Tobias is playing good ball. Ben is doing his thing on defense. Embiid is a warrior. Like the Hawks are a good on the rise team, but I think in the long run, 7-game series style, the Sixers is going to be a little too much for them
Yeah, too
right
much.
now.
And too much Embiid. Too much Embiid at the end
Oh
of the
yeah,
day.
Capella
They can't.
Capella is a good defender, but he can't fuck with Embiid.
Yeah, nobody has an answer. And that even to me, like I don't have a finals pick at all from either conference right now. I just don't because it's been so fluid. And it's
Yeah,
like
me either.
I lean Sixers sometimes, like I said, because there is no answer in the playoffs almost, other than maybe Gobert, then to Embiid. Like what do the Nets roll out, assuming that it's the Nets and the Sixers and the ECF? What do
Mm-hmm.
they roll out? What is their Embiid plan? I don't know. What the hell do you plan? What I don't see anything on their roster. So it's just tough. I don't know. I think that too much Embiid is a problem that most teams would run into, and I think that's the same thing that the Hawks is going to run into as well. Capella can't for 7 games, 6 games.
Mm-mm.
Capella
Mm-mm.
can't do too much with that.
Mm-mm. And then when they go to it's my man, they gotta come off the bench. Blanking real quick. He has no shot either. Who's the kid?
The young guy, right?
Yeah. I can't think of his name. It's just
Yeah, I can't think of
like
it either, but yeah,
like you
young
said,
guy.
there's nothing that the Hawks have to even think about contending with Embiid down low. They try to do double teams. He's improved his game because that used to be a weakness. He used to turn the ball over a lot in double team
Yeah, we used to do
situations.
that to him. We used to do that to him.
He's fixed
That used
that.
to
You
be
know what I
our
mean? His
yeah.
IQ has grown. He knows when to get the ball out early. He knows how to break the double team now. So that's not going to happen. You can't foul him because he's the second or the first best free throw shooter, big man in the league. It's between him, Jokic, and Cat. Like he shoots 83, 84% from the free throw line. So you can't try the fouling situation, right? And then you can't say, okay, let's force him outside to take jumpers and 3-point shots. He can do that too. He's a complete package. You know what I mean? He runs the court well. The only thing that stops Embiid is the thing I'm not going to say because if it happens, we're done. That's the only thing that stops.
Yeah, we'll leave that one unspoken.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like the Sixers in that against the Hawks too. But like I said, I do see the Hawks getting one in Atlanta. I don't know if it's the first one or the second one. They get one.
Yeah, because originally I thought if we were going to win in 5, it was going to be we won both of the first 2 games. Then they win game 3, 4. We would have won it. We'd have ended them in 5. But they stole game 1. Shout out to them. That was impressive. Trey killed Danny Green all day that day. But now that adjustment has been made, we see that Trey's a great player. No disrespect to him. But Ben and Matisse give him real issues because of their length.
Yeah. I think you got to take him off the ball. You got to take him off the ball. You got that's the way you fixed him.
I wish they didn't lose DeAndre Hunter because he was starting to really put together some good runs.
That's a big loss too. That's a sneaky big loss.
Yeah, he's going to end up being a pretty good pro. Him and Cam Reddish, they both have dealt with injuries early in their career, but that Hawks team, man.
Yeah.
Talk about shooters.
Yeah.
Oh,
God. All the shooters.
Trey Young, Bogdanovich, Kevin Huerter, Danilo Gallinari. And that's not even adding Reddish, who's a shooter.
John Collins
DeAndre Hunter, John Collins. Like, that is a team that
Tony Snell off the bench.
Like, Lou Will comes off the bench.
Lou Will.
That's a team that, you know how we always like to look forward and say, who's on the rise? Who's next? They're one of the next. I mean, they're probably right where Phoenix is, where Phoenix was
in the
last
East.
year.
They're the equivalent of Phoenix in the East.
Yeah, if they can add one more piece, like Phoenix did with CP3, we could easily see the Hawks as a top 3 seed next year.
And I think that their piece it could already be on the team. It's that win. If they can get that win,
DeAndre Hunter.
Yeah. If it's either Hunter or Reddish, whichever one of them take that next step and stay healthy, I think that's what they're really missing.
Yeah.
But all right, let's talk. Go ahead.
Yeah, we're gonna see what happens with Collins. They may end up losing him. I know they offered him $90 million. He turned that down. So we'll see how that goes. But like you said, if they can get another 3-4 guy who can do it on both ends, and that's Hunter was drafted to be that guy, then we could see them take that next rise immediately because, man, that dude Trey Young. Trey Young for Luka is going to go down as one of the most even trades ever.
Yeah, it was no loser in that trade.
No loser. No loser at all.
I'll go as far as to say is that there's 2 winners in that trade because Trey is perfect for Atlanta and Luka's perfect for Dallas. But so we talked the playoff series as they are right now. Before we get out of here, I just wanted to talk the NBA awards up to this point. So far we've had 6 men announced. That was Jordan Clarkson, which was no surprise. He's had a hell of a year. By far and away the best 6 men in the league.
Absolutely.
Then we had after 6 men was what? Coach of the Year. That went
Coach of the Year.
Thibodeau. There was a little controversy there. A lot of people like Monty Williams.
Yeah.
I like Monty Williams.
I'm one of them.
I do have to say what Thibodeau did with what he was given. I gotta lean a little bit more. At least Monty Williams got CP3. Like there's no equivalent
Yeah,
to that
Monty
on
Williams
the
had
Knicks.
more to work with. Monty Williams had more to work with. I can agree with that. But for me, he took them from a non-playoff team to the 2 seed. They won their
Yeah,
division. Like, to me, Monty Williams was the coach of the year. And when you look at the voting, he had more first place votes. He just didn't have the more total amount of votes to win it.
yeah,
Like, I don't like I feel like, oh, if you get the most first place votes, that's the guy that's at first. Forget the total,
yeah,
but whatever, that's not how they do it. But I'm not gonna disrespect Thibodeau. What he did to get that Knicks team in the playoffs and a respected playoff team. It weren't like they snuck through the back door. They were the
yeah,
fourth seed, I
yeah.
believe. Yes. Um, and no, they didn't give Atlanta much of a challenge in that series, but that's more because of where Atlanta is compared to anything Thibodeau did. So
Hmm.
I understand, and he definitely is a well. He had the type of coaching gear that is worthy of the award for sure.
My thing about and I also look at the culture that he like. The, the thing about the Knicks is you know who the Knicks are. They weren't ready for the prime time to me. I feel like they were about like a year ahead of schedule, but we knew exactly who the Knicks were. Like throughout the season, they showed us who they were, and in the playoffs, they proved who they were, even though they weren't as successful as they probably would have wanted to be. And I think, as far as coaching goes, that's probably the most important thing. Once you establish that culture, that's what if you build it, they will come. I always like you can bring in that next player, that all-star to get you guys to the next level once you have a culture and an identity as a team. And I think that's the biggest thing that Thibodeau did for the Knicks. Because at the end of
Yeah,
the
like I
day,
said, I
as good
respect.
as Julius
I
Randle
res-
played, he was facilitated to play like that by Thibodeau. Like Julius Randle has
yeah,
always been who
he
Julius
unleashed
Randle
him.
is. Yeah, he
Yep,
unleashed him.
he
He let
unleashed
him
him.
out. He let him.
And
Yeah,
then
that's
also something else I give him credit for helping their rise is he brought in guys that knew what he wanted. You know what I mean? The Todd
yeah,
Gibson sign. People saw sign Todd
yeah.
Gibson. Like, why are you
Derrick
signing
Rose,
Todd
Todd
Gibson? It's
Gibson.
because
Yeah,
he's going to there to
hmm
set the tone. Then they traded for Derrick Rose, another tone setter. You know what I mean? Like,
hmm
so
That's
that's
culture. That's
those
what
are
I'm saying.
good moves. That's coach. They built the culture
That's
there.
building an
Yep.
identity.
And that's probably it'll probably Leon Rose will probably get some looks for executive of the year. We'll see as that time goes down.
Hmm.
But yeah, like we said, we six man was Clarkson, coach of the year was Thibodeau. MVP is Nikola Jokic. Again, I have no disagreement with that. I actually fully believe he was the MVP.
Yeah,
Yes, I'm
I
a
don't think
Sixers
there's a.
fan.
I don't think it's a good argument
Yes,
against. I don't think it's a good
yeah,
argument
yes.
against. I just really don't think it's a
I'm a
good argument.
Sixers. Yeah, I'm a Sixers fan, and I think Embiid had a dynamic, dominant type of season, an
He had an
MVP
MVP
type of
season.
season.
Yeah, for
But
sure.
when you miss 23 games, maybe even a little more than that, and the other guy doesn't miss any, and the other guy is able to take his team up the standings after losing an all-star in Jamal Murray, that's something you can't really argue
Yeah, you
against.
can't
Yes, he does
argue.
not do as much as Embiid defensively. No, of course he doesn't. But what Embiid doesn't do what he does in terms of facilitating. You know what I mean? There's give and takes. The year Jokic had for a big man, it kind of put, like Shaq said the other day, it put the big man back in the spotlight. Him and Embiid
Hmm.
season. There's
Yeah.
no more thinking that the MVP is always going to be a guard and a forward when those two are there, because those two lead their teams, and their teams are high level teams that are in the playoffs, that are going to stay there, they're going to be around. So MVP, I agree that it should have been Jokic. I'm glad Jokic got it. Um, the only award that I'm like, I don't agree with is Defensive Player of the Year.
Now it's funny you say that. We just saw. I don't know if you watching.
Yeah,
Rudy Gobert just got his award for Defensive Player of the Year, and
yeah.
you kind of spoke to it earlier, and I understand it. I'm not going to even necessarily say I agree with it, but I do understand it. I just think that what they look at when they look at Rudy Gobert is his impact that he has on not just his man that he's defending, the entirety of the other team. And that's where Rudy Gobert to me does stand out from the other candidates. Like you got guys like Ben, like Draymond, like Bam, who are all to me worthy of Defensive Player of the Year this year. I think all of those guys are worthy of it. But to see what the type of impact that Gobert has on a game in and game out basis defensively, every year you could kind of give it to him. To be honest, you could give
And
it
it's
to him.
been that way the last 3 years.
Yeah.
Last 3 years has been his award. I say I don't agree with him winning it this year solely because of the impact Ben Simmons has towards the Sixers defense when he's on versus off the court. Like he is 100% a monster defensive player. He can cover 1 through 5. He has given the biggest names issues night in and night out. We just watched him give Trae Young issues. He gave Trae Young issues during the season. He gave Luka issues during the season. He not Bill, what was it? Excuse me. De'Aaron Fox had issues when he played him. Like
I
there's
throw
so
Tatum
many
out there. He gives Tatum problems.
He gives Tatum problems. Absolutely. There's so many big time players that we see. Mitchell is on fire. That we see absolutely. It's so many players that we see absolutely murder other good defenders that Ben is able to slow down or almost stop.
Yes.
And then I just think I thought it was his award to lose this year. Unfortunately, it wasn't. Gobert got it. I'm never going to say Gobert's not an elite defender because he absolutely is an elite defender. Like we spoke about before, I actually think what he does on pick and roll is even more impressive than his rim protection. But Ben covers anybody. Game in and game out, he is against the other team's best.
Yeah, for sure. First team all defense. He could be Defensive Player of the Year too, anytime. But I think, like I said, this year, especially for Gobert, was when Donovan Mitchell went out and him being able to hold it down. And not even necessarily offensively, but defensively, the effect that he has on other teams. Gobert is not your guy that you're gonna put on any one guy and say, okay, go shut him down. He affects the entire team getting to the rim, and like you said, even now, the way he's been able to extend his defense further and further to the perimeter has been, impressive. And I think that that's a lot of what some of the people, that some of the voters look at, and it is so impressive, is that the way he affects a team. You got to plan when you play in Gobert. You can't just roll the ball out and say, okay, Gobert will obliterate you if you're not planning on what you're gonna do with Gobert behind that your defender, because you won't be able to score.
Yeah, no, he's a big time guy, big time defender. I think he's only one of 4 guys now that has 3 Defensive Player of the Year awards. So he's going to go down as a historic defensive player in the NBA. He's very, very good as a rim protector. Very good.
And I said this to you. Ben's time is coming, man. They're not going to be able to ignore that for much longer. What Ben is
hope
doing.
not. Because Gobert's pretty young. Now, I'm going to ask you this because I think it was either my dad or one of my uncles. They feel like there's a perception around Ben Simmons because of his offense that some people don't like him or they don't respect his whole game because of that. Do you think that because writers are who vote for these, the media guys are who vote for these awards. Do you think that some of that may have affected his votes for Defensive Player of the Year?
I don't think that anybody can discount what Ben does defensively. I don't think that is possible. If you watch any amount of Sixers basketball or NBA basketball, you can't really because here's my thing.
That's exactly what they were saying, though. A lot of these writers are not watching every game or as much as we do because we live in this location of the world.
Yeah, that's true.
They were saying that there's some people out there that are there's some people out there that are only going off of perception, and because they feel a certain way about his offensive game,
I will agree with that.
They just negate them all together. And
no, because there is some people that if you get into a conversation with them, you can tell they don't watch Sixers basketball because they'll tell you that Ben Simmons is trash or that Ben Simmons can't. And then you're like, what? Like, that doesn't make no sense. Ben Simmons can't shoot. Granted,
That's
I
it.
agree.
Yes.
But in every other facet of the game, he's a superstar. Like that's the thing about Ben. Like Ben is probably Ben and Giannis are probably the two superstars. They can't shoot, but those guys are superstars. Like we're not gonna ever act like they're not. Like
Yeah.
so,
And
I mean, that
until
could
they
be true.
said it, it was something I never even thought about. But then afterwards, I kind of put some weight into that. Yeah, because there are some
Yeah,
people out here who, just because of what he does not do offensively, they're sour on him. And I can see them say, "Oh no, I'm not giving it to Ben Simmons. Gobert's the defensive player there." I can see that happening. But I hope what you said is true. Is that eventually, as he
yeah. I
continues to
think
play the
Ben Simmons
defense on
gonna
this
make.
level, it's not able to ignore.
I mean, you're gonna see things like this. Like say things go according to what we think. In the next series, it's gonna be Ben matched up with KD.
Mm-hmm.
That's gonna happen.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of those things where you get on the and I think that's also a big reason too, is Ben hasn't really been able to do it on the world stage. Remember, he didn't play in the playoffs last year in the bubble. So we didn't see him defend, Jason Tatum last year in the bubble. So this year, you watch KD against Ben Simmons, and that's the matchup, and you see the type of defense he's going to play, which we know what he's going to bring to the table. That's one of those things where it could, change perceptions a little bit, take him up a rung on the ladder. So, like I said, I 100% believe Ben Simmons' time is coming because of just the type of defender he is. That's not going anywhere. That's not going to go
Oh
anywhere. He's
no,
going to
it
be
ain't
that player.
going nowhere. Facts. Yep, I
He's
agree
going
with
to be
that.
that. And
That was
I also do think that having Embiid on the same team with him, being such a top-notch defender as well, that kind of takes away from them too. I think they kind of cannibalize each other as far as for votes because there's he was player of the year because he had a great year. If he didn't miss all that time, he might have been the guy to win it. To be honest, but Ben to me, his versatility is what sets him apart from other guys that you would say. And then another guy that I think is
him
on the
and Bam.
rise and is going to have his time too is Bam.
Yeah,
Bam,
him and Bam. They cover 1 through 5. They're the two to me that can do something that no one else can do. Like Draymond, sometimes I don't know about this point in his career, but Bam and Ben legit can cover 1 through 5 with no issue. And I
yeah,
think those two are the best young defenders in the league. Gobert, so Zubac, jeez. um, those two are the ones on the rise. And
go
and
shine your trophy.
I'm a, I'm gonna be a little petty, and I will say the fact that Embiid and Ben both scored 40 on Utah should have been in the equation.
Yeah.
Ben ain't scored 40 on nobody else but the defensive player of the year.
Yeah, I
Nah,
mean,
I'm
but
just
and that's
playing
the other
around.
thing. Like I said, I think that once you get to 3 defensive players a year, I doubt we see
You
Gobert get
gotta
it.
chill. Yeah, you gotta chill. But
Yeah,
he's big time. And man, I know we coming up on our time, so I make jokes about it. I say that he didn't. I rather Ben win it, but I am gonna give him respect. He is a big time defender. He has made himself into one of the big time effect players in the league. Like he is an impactful defensive
yeah.
player, and Rudy
Mhm.
Gobert, all the accolades and shine he gets is well deserved. It's not nothing that he didn't earn.
Yeah, and that's the thing about it too. It's like he didn't. To me, he didn't have a better year than Ben defensively, or Bam. To me, Draymond, it's kind of hard because of their record. But to me, I think it was more his impact that he had on that team defensively and keeping them where they were. I think that's what put him over the edge this year.
Those two that injuries honestly are probably why MVP and Defensive Player of the Year are the people that it was.
Exactly.
Donovan
Both.
Mitchell being out near the end of the year and Utah staying up with the 1 seed, that helped. Gobert with Defensive Player of the Year, it helped Clarkson with 6 Man of the Year. And then Jamal Murray tearing his ACL in Denver going up the standings instead of down, locked MVP up. So that's something that had like the injuries this year played an effect. And also with Embiid, he missed so many games that it knocked him down. So injuries are so big and they suck. But let's hope for their health for all these players going
Part of
through
the
the
game, but I
next
think
couple
this year,
rounds.
I do think this year was a unique
Wars.
for injuries because of the quick turnaround. You notice
Yeah.
where, especially a lot of the bubble teams, the teams that went far in the bubble, really
Yep.
struggle with injuries. So
Yep.
I think that next year, hopefully, that'll be
We
down.
back to
Wait,
normal.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
we'll see things back to normal. But yeah, I think we hit everything we really needed to hit, man. We just wanted to definitely get in here and talk about what's going on now. Obviously a lot going on, a lot more to come. Anything that we didn't hit that you want to definitely talk about?
No, I think we got it all. We talked about Rogers' situation. We talked about Julio Jones. Um, we talked about the outlook on the NBA playoffs, where we see that continue to go. We did the awards. I don't see anything else now that's pressing. Though we do coming up. Eastern Conference Finals, Western Conference Finals will be what we start to look into as these series
Yeah,
start to show us who the matchups are going to be. Then we got NFL mini camps and training camp around the corner. It's always sports is always there, and while it's there, we'll be here.
yeah. And some other stuff we'll touch on, but we'll hit that when we get back. We got all NBA teams coming up, all defensive
Yep.
teams coming up. I do want to talk a little bit about some off-season stuff. My
Between.
my Celtics, we got a lot of turmoil going
Yes, we
on.
do. Oh
I
yeah,
just,
we're gonna talk about Dame and where he may end up going. Yep, there's some
so we'll,
things to
we'll
go.
definitely touch on all that. But for now, I think we can get out of here. Um, Everybody that check us out, I want to say appreciate you all for checking us out, man. Keep hitting us up. Catch us next time and join the conversation. Catch us on social media, Twitter and Instagram, About That Sports Life, ABPDATSPRTSLIFE. Check us out on YouTube under About That Sports Life. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Hit the bell icon so that you get notified when we post new videos and new content. Shoot us an email. Any questions, comments, concerns, topics at info@aboutthatsportslife. And make sure you check out our website, www.aboutthatsportslife.com, for replays of the show and any additional content.
Yes, sir.
All right, bro. Other than that, man, we're out of here, man. Check y'all out next time.
Peace.
Later.
Mhm.